In the 5th episode of Luke Cage, Cottonmouth ends up becoming the thorn in Power Man's side, as he continues to turn all of Harlem against the would-be hero. This week's episode of Luke Cage had some fantastic dialogue, and honestly it was all a build-up to Pops' funeral, which I think was handled really well, especially that big scene where Cottonmouth made a speech, and then Luke Cage followed right after, which was just such a triumphant moment. But most of this episode, Luke Cage was having to deal with the street's problems, and that's because Cottonmouth has been telling every single person in Harlem that everything that's about to go wrong is all because of Luke Cage. If you want someone to blame, go to Pops' barbershop and talk to the big man himself. I especially love the build-up to this scene because Cottonmouth is absolutely hemorrhaging money. He has barely any dough left, and he decides that he's going to send his goons around town to shake everyone down, to get some money so that he can sort of build some capital again. I especially love how one of his goons is reading this book all about the politics of the streets, and he pisses off Cottonmouth so much that he just kills him right there in front of everyone. Basically to make a statement: don't go against what I'm saying. When I tell you to do something, you better freaking do it. Cottonmouth is becoming a very disturbing villain. Throughout the entire episode, a lot of the people who live in Harlem are going up to Luke Cage, bitching in his face, asking for help because all of their stuff has already been stolen or money has been taken away from them. And Luke Cage is happy to oblige. What I really love about it too is that he's getting ready for Pops' funeral, and throughout most of the episode, he's wearing this really nice suit. And it's only until like the very last couple of minutes of the episode where he runs into this one guy who happened to steal this baseball ring from this one store that belonged to this former player that he ends up getting shot multiple times and ends up destroying his shirt. It's a super depressing moment, but I love what follows is when he goes to the barbershop and he looks at himself in the mirror and sees the damage that was caused to him. He curses, and he still puts money into the swear jar. There's also some really great things going on with the detectives and the police in this story. There are these two detectives who actually confront Misty Knight about what's going on with her partner. They really believe that something's not quite right about his actions, how some information has turned up missing, and clearly Scarf is putting on one hell of an act. And even by the end of this episode, it looks like he's getting ready to portray Cottonmouth. He does not want to get caught. And who would have thought that the glue that's holding together the entire Netflix Marvel series would be Rosario Dawson? That's right, Rosario Dawson is back, playing the character of Claire Temple. You might have remembered her from Daredevil and Jessica Jones. Not only has she encountered some of these heroes, but she's shocked when she returns home and discovers that Luke Cage is not only still around, but still kicking lots of ass. Rosario Dawson, while I do believe is a pretty good actor, is an incredibly distracting character in the show. I'm not too familiar with a lot of the other actors that are in this series, and that makes me believe the characters that they are portraying. Whenever I see Rosario Dawson, I just see Rosario Dawson. That being said, she's still a really interesting character, and I love the fact that she's played a role in all of the major Netflix series thus far, and her relationship with Luke Cage is almost bound to get more ridiculous as the series is going on. One of my favorite things about this episode, and again something that's doing a great job of tying this to the other Marvel Cinematic Universe works, is that Shades comes up with this really brilliant idea to take out Luke Cage. His boss Diamondback told him that there is a certain bullet for everyone, and they have access to this extremely advanced technology which actually came from the Chitauri, which is those alien creatures which invaded during the very first Avengers movie. A lot of people were able to obtain this technology, and they've created this bullet from their technology which can not only pierce something, but cause it to explode from the inside out and incinerate, getting rid of any evidence. And supposedly this bullet should be able to take down Luke Cage. At the end of the episode is definitely my favorite scene, when they go to the funeral. It's really good because Cottonmouth tries to give this bullshit speech to everyone in the middle of church in front of God, basically saying, we shouldn't trust Luke Cage, blame it all on him. And then Luke Cage comes up on stage, and he ends up giving this resoundingly amazing speech about what it means to be a real good human being in the modern world in Harlem. It's a wonderful speech because it emphasizes the fact that you have to be a hard, honest, working person in order to gain respect and make a community better. Not through intimidation and not through gangster tactics. He's basically calling out Cottonmouth right there in front of everyone. And then it's great because as soon as the funeral is over, he casually walks up to Cottonmouth and tells him, you know what? It was a lot better embarrassing you in front of a lot more people. It was way more satisfying. That moment was great. It's so awesome that Luke Cage is not going to take any of Cottonmouth's shit. He even goes as far as to walking right into his club in this episode, making fun of him directly and beating up his goons right in front of him. Luke Cage's interactions with Cottonmouth is great because he just doesn't give a shit. He knows that there isn't a single weapon that this dude has that can take him out. He's taken a rocket launcher at point-blank range. Nothing's gonna hurt this guy, except for maybe that special bullet. But we're gonna have to wait to see how that turns out. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Luke Cage? Really, that's all I have to say about this episode. It was just fun watching Luke Cage go around town being constantly annoyed by everybody hammering his ass about the fact that Cottonmouth has been shaking them down and it's up to him to take care of everything. He basically has realized that he is going to have to be the personal protector of Harlem in this episode. But then again, that's what it was destined to be from the beginning. Rosario Dawson returning is great. Like I said, she's sort of like gluing all of this stuff together. She even makes some great references to Jessica Jones, not to mention Daredevil himself, even referencing what his powers are. One of the biggest surprises, though, have to be the villains. They are just great. I love them. They exude so much personality, in particular Cottonmouth, who seems to get crazier with every single episode. And the character of Shades, too, is great, because just like Luke Cage, he doesn't take any of Cottonmouth's shit. A lot of that having to do with the fact that he works with Diamondback, who's a way big higher up person in the food chain. So overall, this was another fantastic episode of the series right here, which was very nice and atmospheric, especially with all of those church scenes at the very end of the episode, which just sent a massive chill down my spine, not to mention that whole subplot with that one girl by the name of Aisha, who was actually planning on killing Luke Cage. But that doesn't work. He just grabs her purse and crushes that gun like it's nothing. It is awesome when he is actually crushing guns, especially that scene when that guy shoots at him multiple times and he just picks him up, and Luke Cage could have just wasted this guy right there. Instead, he decides to teach him a lesson. He allows him to look around at the state of things and lets him know that things can change. Everything can be turned around. Everyone deserves a second chance, and then he just walks away like the badass he is. So while not the best episode of the series, it was certainly a really entertaining one, so I'm going to give this episode right here a 4 out of 5. Check it out, Marvel fans. You might see something you like. If any of you did watch this episode of Luke Cage, make sure to tell me what you thought about it in the comments section below. Are you happy to see the return of Claire Temple, Rosario Dawson's character? Did you have a favorite scene from this episode? What do you want to see from the rest of Marvel's Luke Cage? Please tell me in the comments section below. You guys are awesome! Thank you for watching this review. I truly appreciate it. One of the best ways to support my channel is to simply leave a comment, like the video, or better yet, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby!